Hey, what's going on, everybody? Kenny Lamons here. You're watching Medicare Millennials. Yes, we changed the name of our channel once again, but this time it's here to stay. So please like and subscribe, Medicare Millennials. Just a couple young, dumb West Texas boys that happen to sell a lot of Medicare. We want to share that with you. Share our journey of selling all types of senior market products, but particularly Medicare now. Today's video, we're going to go over the post-close and the cool down. And this is geared towards phone Medicare sales. However, it's perfectly transmittable to the house if you're going back into homes anytime soon. And it's also almost the exact same post-close and cool down process for Final Expense. So it's useful for a lot of you guys out there. I'm here with my partner, Ethan Gladwell, live from Fort Worth. Ethan, introduce yourself real quick.
What's up, guys? For those of you that don't know, Ethan Gladwell here in Fort Worth, Texas. Kenny and I have been working together for a little over 4 years now. In fact, he's the one that brought me into the industry and trained me up. Today, we're going to be talking about something which I'll let him get into, but we're going to be talking about something that I really struggled with in the beginning. And, Kenny has pretty much perfected this. So we're going to be really sitting down and dissecting it today. And so, Kenny, I'll let you kind of jump in.
Thanks for the shout out, man. I will say this, one thing I've learned is everyone thinks they invented their sales process in this business, but really all any of us ever did was recycle what somebody before us did. Maybe we tweaked it and made it a little bit better, or we piecemealed it together, but wouldn't you agree we stand on the shoulders of those before us on this kind of stuff? So
absolutely,
it's a matter of experience. Anyway, so with the post-closing cool down, what I was going to do just to make the video go hopefully pretty smoothly, I'm going to go through my roughly 4-step process. And then Ethan, after each step, just tell me what you like, what you don't like, what you do differently, add anything in there you want. Does that sound good format?
Sounds good to me.
So number one, I have got signatures. They've email signed or whatever the situation is, the sale is completed. So what's next? So the first thing I do is, and this is crucial, is recap. So what did we do and why did we do it? So it's really simple. We just got done with let's just call it a Medicare sale. And I just want to remind them what this new plan is called, what are the main highlights of what it's going to cover for them, or what additional benefits they're going to be getting from this plan, and why we did it. You know, you had no dental at all before, Mrs. Jones, and it was just so important for you to be able to get that dental work done. It's going to be a lot less expensive every time you see that primary doctor on this new plan. It's going to be $0 copayment when you go see them, et cetera, et cetera. So you want to recap what you did and why you did it immediately after the sale and drill that into their head.
That's excellent. Obviously, we know the things that we're talking about can be used in both phone sales and face-to-face. And I know we've just recently transitioned into phone sales, but do you ever ask them to write anything down, or are you just telling them? What does that look like for you over the phone?
Normally at the very beginning, if you go back to part 1 of this series, I talk about, and you do too, about how we say things like, hey, you might want to write down my name. You might want to write this down. And I get a gauge of if they're writing things down. Okay. You know what I mean? Yeah. And if they are writing things down, and even if they're not, I might say, hey, like, let's write down the main highlights here. So yeah, absolutely. That's a good point. I didn't even think about that, because when we're in person, we're like writing this down for them on a summary sheet or highlighting or maybe even whatever, just pointing at it on a summary of benefits. So yes, so what and why? Well, they're not going to retain all of this, guys. Think about this clientele. 1 out of 10 of them might. Everyone else, you highly encourage you. Sure, they're going to get the information in the mail in a couple of weeks, but good point. Write it. Ask them to write it down, Ethan.
Please do.
What else on that recap? Do you do anything different on that?
Let's see. On that,
and I might cover something you add in steps 2, 3, and 4. But as far as just that initial recap, is there anything special you do when you're explaining what you did and why you did it?
Really, I just honed back in on the biggest reason why we did that, whether it be dental, whether it be I'm tired of paying $25 to go see a primary doc, whatever it may be. I think we've discussed this in several other videos that we've done, but I just recap 3 or 4 things. Just highlight a couple
Not
of
10.
things that sound good, keep it simple, and move forward.
Not 10 things, right?
No. We don't pick through the plan. We've already done that, in fact. And you're going to bore them and you're going to lose interest. No, hit the reasons why they switched one more time is what I always try and do.
Perfect. 1 second here. Let the family know I'm coming home at some point tonight. So step 2, after the recap, moving right along. So you don't have a lot of time after you finish the sale. You've got a few critical minutes here before you can do anything, or before you're going to be getting off the phone with them. So what happens next is the next step. The next step is what I call it, what happens next. So, or we used to call this setting the expectations, okay? So you want to let them know verbatim. We've already talked about what we did and why we did it. But what's going to happen next? Are they ever going to hear from me again? Are they going to get anything in the mail? When does their policy take effect? Of course, we've touched on these things, but we need to reiterate. So the biggest things is when they're going to get a policy and or their cards. And I always try to give myself leeway and say within 2 weeks, because, you know, normally it's about 7 days from my experience, but within 2 weeks, they're going to get their policy, and then you're going to get their cards. Now, remember, Miss Jones, when you get this card, we're estimating it'll be in the middle of May. Your policy doesn't take effect until June 1st. If you want to write that down, it will say this on your card. So you're going to continue to use your current coverage all through the rest of the month, but you'll get your card within 2 weeks. That starts June 1st. And then I'll name one benefit that they were interested in. So for instance, if they're going to use mail order drugs, I'll let them know, once you get your card, you call me and let me know you've got it. I'll get you on the phone with the right person to set up the mail order for your drugs. That sound good, Miss Jones?
Super simple.
Yeah. Just one thing, whatever that is. I'll make sure you see the dental phone number on there so you can find a dentist in your area, or whatever the situation is. So I'll let them know when they're going to get their policy and their cards, and then I let them know, so you're going to get that letter from XYZ Insurance Company. You're also going to get a letter in an envelope directly from me. It's going to say Kenny Lamons, Patriot Retirement Group, have my address on there. There's going to be a little welcome letter that I write you. Cheesy, I know, Miss Jones, but you'll think it's sweet. And it's going to have 2 cards. One's a regular card, one's a magnet card. The magnet card's for you because you're always going to call me first when you have a problem. Okay, so you'll stick that one on your refrigerator. The second card, I encourage you to stick it in your wallet, stick it in your purse, and share it with somebody else that you think could use some help on their Medicare. Sound fair? So policy and cards from the company, and then you're going to get a letter from me with my cards in there, okay? And then the only other thing I just remind them when they get my cards that they're to call me first with any problems. Mm-hmm. And now sometimes, Miss Jones, I might have to get you on the phone with customer service, but I'll screen that first to make sure you talk to the right person. So that's what happens next.
Put a lot of emphasis on having them call you first, in my opinion. Something as simple as, well, for example, a gentleman, being that we just had a month switch, I set him effective 5/1 for a new carrier, and he went on 5/1 before he ever had his new cards in, went to the pharmacy and used his old card, and guess what? It didn't work. So he called me, and after 10 seconds of really thinking about it, I realized, oh yeah, that's right. We got that switched over effective 5/1. So I went ahead and called United, the company, and got the group number and everything that we needed, and he got his prescription drugs. So I put heavy emphasis on giving me a call first, seeing if I can't screen that call before the company does.
Well, that's a great point. When is the most likely time you're going to lose a sale? Right there in the first month, maybe even before it takes effect, right?
Absolutely.
So explaining to them and reiterating when it takes effect and when they're going to get their cards and when to use them can prevent you from losing business. You're a perfect example what you just said. They're going to the pharmacy and they're told that their card doesn't work. That's not a great start for you guys. No. So
you're going to get a phone call.
Yeah. Okay, let's move right on to number 3. This one's critical, is when I set the next appointment. So, in other words, when am I going to talk to you again? When are you going to hear from me again? So this depends. If I'm selling Medicare and that person told me they had a life insurance policy during my needs assessment, then I'm going to set the appointment the next day to do a free policy review for them. If that person did whatever, for whatever reason, I don't feel strongly that I'm going to have a life insurance opportunity, then I set it typically 3 days out. Here's why. Because I want to give it time where when I go look at the back office of whatever company I've put them with, I can see complete or issued. So when I call them, I can let them know, I just want to let you know they've processed the whole application we sent in. So that I know the cards are on the way in the mail to you, just to remind you, your only homework is to call me when you get that card. I've already put my cards in the mail to you. And so that you're setting that next appointment. So it's either just another recap, or potentially it's a recap and a cross-selling opportunity. But you need to schedule that follow-up appointment and say, hey, be ready for me Friday. And would you prefer between 9 and 12 or after lunch? Not that simple.
Yeah. The only thing I do a little bit differently, which, obviously in the beginning of your insurance career, you're always scared to do, but it's call that person the very next day. And I try and do that every single time, whether I've sold them Medicare, life insurance, whatever it is. I try and call them the very next morning, 9 a.m., before I even have a sip of coffee. Sit at my desk, I call them, I say, hey, Mrs. Jones, it's Ethan from yesterday. Just letting you know that I got everything processed, didn't miss anything, don't need anything, just wanted to call and let you know that I got it all taken care of. And then the next time you'll be hearing back from me is, if there's an opportunity for something else, or of course, when you get your new card in. That's the only thing I do.
Never a bad idea to just go ahead and let them know you're going to be calling the next.
Which, when you're brand new, is the hardest thing to do, but I encourage every single person to do it.
You're
At least
so
it was
scared when you're new that they're gonna back out of it. Listen, if they have an objection that they didn't already address to you, want to know it the next morning.
Exactly.
You still got a shot there, okay?
Confront it and handle it then and there.
If you're a new insurance agent, no matter what you're selling, make sure that if there's one thing you take away, it's that you're calling them the very next day. So yeah, like I said, sometimes I might have 2 to 3 days out, but I've been doing this for over 5 years and I know how to feel my clients out a little better. Call the next day. Good point, Ethan.
Absolutely.
So the fourth part in my process for post-close and cool down is to simply change the subject. Talk about anything other than business, guys. You want the last touch to be a personal touch. So excellent. I'm traditionally a field agent. I've done Final Expense Telesales I did that for just under a year. Obviously doing a lot of telesales for Medicare right now, but I've done the bulk of my business knee to knee. And I always ended with talking about something because I already built rapport. I'll go back to their favorite dog or their favorite grandchild or where they retired, whatever it is. And I'm either shaking a hand or I'm giving a hug. Well, we can't do that right now. Can't do that over the phone anyway. But what I don't want you guys to be doing, don't make the mistake of leaving on business. Leave on a personal note. And that can be, Ethan, you can tell me how you do this, but normally for me, it's just saying things like, what do you got going on this weekend? When's your next doctor's appointment? How's the weather? It really can be a number of things.
Your birthday's coming up, anything. And yeah, any big plans this weekend, anything like that. Just get their mind off what you just did. That's the whole goal. Make it personal. Make them remind them that you are a person as well. You're human. You're their friend. You're here to take care of them. You've met their needs. And they're more than welcome to call at any time. Shoot them a text. I don't care. Add me on Facebook. I'd love to have you on Facebook. You can keep up with my life. I'll keep up with yours. Whatever it may be. I'm pretty big on that. Just get their mind off what y'all just accomplished.
Yeah. And that's simple. It's a simple step, guys. So whenever you're done with steps 1, 2, 3, change the subject. Shoot the breeze. Do what insurance agents are supposed to be good at, which is talking. Just talk to them. And then, the last thing I say before I get off the phone is I'm so glad that I got to meet you today. I know it's virtual, but at some point in the future, I'll be happy to come meet you in person. I'm so glad that we were able to talk today. And that I'll be calling you tomorrow. So I end it with something like that. That's how I cool down.
Very good.
Do anything different there at the end? Anything you add in?
No. Yeah, I usually, I try and say absolutely, being that it's virtual, um, you're literally 15 minutes from me. I'm down that road all the time. When all this kind of goes away, the next time I've got a minute, I'm definitely swinging by. I want to put a face to the name. I want to shake a hand. I want to introduce myself. It's important to me, and I hope it's important to you as well. So next time I'm in your neck of the woods, I'll be there.
Yeah, for those of you out here that haven't watched much of me and Ethan's videos, we do currently do our telesales locally. So within like a 2-hour radius for the most part of the Dallas-Fort Worth area. So we kind of have that personal touch where we can let them know, even though we're doing this over the phone today. So for those of you that are working statewide or nationwide, of course, you might not tell them that you're going to come meet them in person, but you still need to do the personal touch thing there, change the
Absolutely.
subject. So.
Great point.
Look, man, I think that was a great video. I think we covered what we do at the end of a sale. Again, guys, the name of the channel is Medicare Millennials. It's a little bit cheesy, but look, there's way too many insurance agents retiring and not enough young guys that are, if you're somebody that graduated with too much student loan debt and can't get a salary job you want, we stumbled upon this. It's a great business. So I hope y'all learned something today.
One more thing I might say to add on to that, guys, this industry is 1000% recession proof. Kenny, have you been, not to get into this, have you been more busy or less busy with this coronavirus going on?
Equally as busy, maybe
Equally.
a little bit more.
Recession proof. Okay, it's pretty important.
Less everything goes down the crapper, but then we're all out of luck. Thanks for watching, guys. Leave a comment with any video ideas you have below. Thanks, Ethan.
See you, bud.